because so Coffin Bob bought my great-grandfather, oh there he is, there's Uncle Shirley. He bought him a car, a 1918 Dodge, because he vowed not to ride again, because they found out what happened to the horses. You know what happened? Yeah. So there was 11,000 left out of the 121 odd thousand horses, and out of them there was 11,000 left. Many were sold to India and many were sold to England, but they were on-sold in Egypt, and they saw the way. They were all getting treated there, and many of them of course were actually killed there. They were shaved to get their hair and their manes, and then they were skinned because they were commodities that could be sold. Now these were the horses that saved their lives. They were the horses that took Damascus. You know, when you watch Lawrence of Arabia and he and Prince Faisal, it's all about Laurie. Me. But 4 hours before he even turned up, the tent lights was in West Australia. Because of what happened at the neck to them, Harry Chauvel said, you should be the ones to take the greatest city on earth. And they went in there to the Great Shirai and got it signed on the surrender of Damascus, was to Major Olden, the dentist in Narrogin. Yeah! Didn't hear about him in Lawrence of Arabia. But, and invited him to Australia. When he came for the International Peace Park for Anzac, you know, the Anzac Peace Park, he's going, so when do we go to Walpole? And they had to organise a bus to bring him across, and that's where it all happened. So this was all the Turk, and then and that's the statue, this amazing picture of Ataturk, and we joined our two countries together. It was very, very special. And so they mixed this sand up there, and so I've still been working with them as well. So in a way, it's why you're here. If they hadn't taken the horses, my grandfather wouldn't have the car. And that started Muir Ford, because all the Perth elites who were going to Tingwood Lodge and to Pierre Lodges, their cars were breaking down and no one knew how to fix it. So he started the longest family-owned Ford company in Australia, Muir Ford. Still, you know, you would have bought a Muir Ford car, wouldn't you, from Mount Barker? No, they often do. And so when we went to America to build, you know, they're going to build a treetop walk in the redwoods. So, you know, we built this one because this tree fell down. You remember the big tree in the Valley of the Giants? That's the tree that fell down with 2 English people in it. July 18, 1990. Has anyone parked their car inside the tree? Did anyone go back that far? The 50th anniversary of the greatest single idea on earth, and this is the man who actually came up with it. But when you read the front page of the Times magazine, was his name on it? No. Whose name was on it? No, Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin. But it was the Darwin-Wallace theory of evolution by natural selection. He independently came up with it, but he fell out with the British intelligentsia and British aristocracy because he and Frank from Walpole, they were having Sunday seances. They were studying the science of the afterlife, and he fell out of that, out of favour with him. But also, yeah, just amazing. Now, his letters, so this guy Frank, he left England. He went from down to Portsmouth, and he gave the talk. Oh, look at all this Russian stuff came out of the case. And we were wondering who's in the 23 bedrooms. This is all them. That's Frank's soccer side. There's Frank sitting there. There's Vladimir Grigorovich Chetkov. That's Leo Tolstoy's right-hand man who gave the speech. And he'd been exiled into England by Tsar Nicholas II. And he was allowed to go back to Russia in 1906, and guess who went with him? Frank. And Frank was there when that photo got taken of their reunion after 5 years, and he's the one who actually gave the 80th birthday keynote speech, and that ended up coming back with Frank. But when Frank came back from Russia, he was followed by the Russian Social Democratic Labour Party, including, could we have one dramatic pause? Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov.
Lenin.
You know, Lenin with his little offsider, Yusuf Vissarionovich Yushkashvili. Stalin, Lev Ivanovich Bronstein, Trotsky. Thanks, Emma. Thanks. Sorry. And all their letters. This was all, and they went to Frank's church. You know Hackney? Do any of you know Hackney?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know South Bank Road? Thorns Road. It's it's a Tesco Express. It used to be the Brotherhood Church, and that's where the Russian Social Democratic Labour Party's 5th Congress ended up being held. And they found out Frank has a Cyrillic press because he was publishing the works of the Russians in England, and he had all these little groups. So here's Frank, all these photos, there he is, all there. And in that house housed all of Leo Tolstoy's works, and they found out he's got a Cyrillic press and can publish some propaganda on the Mensheviks and the Bolsheviks. Frank didn't want to, so there's Frank, and they left all that whole family, ended up here in Walpole, and that's the girl who hid the case behind us in the false floor. So we thought we'll take this stuff back and they'd be interested in it. And in the end, so there was even stuff for Stalin. We won't even go there. And this, look at him. Here's King George V. He's still standing like that. That's him. Look at him. He is. It's unbelievable. And that's his first cuz. You know, you've seen. Nicholas is the one who put, Leo Tolstoy. He put him into house arrest, and he got exiled. So when Frank went back, he was allowed to write the prefaces, but when the Bolsheviks wanted him to publish the works, he left England to find a paradise, met Mikhail Mitchell, and all this stuff ended up here. So we took it back to Russia, and everyone thinking, well, they're probably going to be interested in this. 3 policemen met us again, Trans-Siberian. But they weren't interested in Frank. They were interested in this woman here. The man who took Frank's place is that man there, and that's his daughter, who's just been uncovered in England. Do you remember they uncovered the woman in County Kent Bexley Heath, the top NKVD KGB spy for Russia, and they've just done the film Red Joan on her? Yeah. That's her dad in Frank's house at Frank's typewriter, and all his papers turned up here. She was the woman who brought the Cold War forward 5 years. And I remember opening up, there's Tolstoy's grandkids, all their pictures and photos, and they were brought up with Frank, because that's Frank's house. There's Cernus. And all of them, they're all in Frank's soccer side. And there's Cernus here. Look who's sitting next door to him. Look, that's Frank from Walpole. Exactly.